I left Olivia in anger, and my heart was cold when I left. However, when Olivia won the Best Actress award for Daytime Carnival, fate brought us together again. That night, the red carpet of the 100 Stars Awards ceremony was shining with lights and stars. All eyes were focused on that moment, when Olivia stood on the stage and won the Best Actress award for her outstanding acting skills and her dedicated work. However, what no one expected was that the next scene was truly shocking. After the awards were presented, Olivia walked up to the podium, stood under the spotlight, and held a yellowed photo tightly in her hand. She smiled, her eyes were firm, but also a little helpless. "Everyone, please help me find my lover. He was angry with me and ran away for a month. My name is Olivia, and his name is William." The audience was immediately in an uproar. Everyone was confused as to why the actress suddenly put forward a missing person notice, and the person mentioned was a name that had long been dead. Yes, William, that was my name. In 2018, the news about my death in a vicious incident came like a tide. At that time, the media reported that I heroically sacrificed my life in an act of protecting a child. In a clash of swords, I disappeared forever from people's sight. My death dominated the hot search, and everyone knew that I had a relationship with Olivia for more than 20 years. Our names were linked together and became a permanent rumor that would spread endlessly. However, Olivia did not become depressed. Although she lost 30 pounds a month after my death and was obviously deeply shocked, she began to recover in public as time passed. Olivia was like a lost child, lost in a world without me, and was eventually pushed to the brink of suicide. But after countless self-struggles, she recovered. Depression, loss, and even self-harm at one point, she was able to survive in the end. All of this seemed to be a trick played by fate. She never stopped missing me, and even in the most painful moments, she still tried to understand our past relationship through the fragments left after I disappeared. Olivia started to come back. She regained her Weibo account and posted a selfie. At that time, her fans cheered, as if she was back, and the goddess who was once full of brilliance finally walked out of the darkness. Her fans also left messages hoping that she could regain happiness and love for life. But there was a voice that was accidentally forgotten, like a stone that stirred up more waves. A fan left a message asking, "Sister, do you still remember William? Will you forget your past love because of him?" This sentence was like a bolt of lightning that split Olivia's heart. She lowered her head and replied, "Why should I forget William?" This sentence was plain, but revealed an unspeakable pain behind her, because her memory was no longer clear. The psychiatrist told her that Olivia's depression was not completely cured. Her mental state was sometimes good and sometimes bad, as if she had a certain degree of Alzheimer's disease, and she could automatically forget those painful memories. What's more terrible is that what she forgot was the deep affection we once had. Michael, Olivia's agent, has asked the psychiatrist many times, how can Olivia return to normal? The answer is to continue filming and return to the stage where she was once the best. Filming, letting her return to the world of the character, is the only way to temporarily make her forget the pain of reality. But even so, Olivia still can't completely get rid of the shadow of the past. 3 years ago, she was filming a killer movie. In a violent scene, tears suddenly welled up and her emotions were out of control, even causing chaos on the entire set. At that moment, she seemed to have returned to the day I died, and the pain and loss occupied her heart again. Michael looked at her, his heart heavy with grief, knowing that he could not give her any real comfort and could only accompany her silently. Time passed quietly, and 3 hours later, a tiny ray of light came into the cabin from the window. Olivia's eyes seemed lost in the darkness, and suddenly she reached out to touch the scarce light, as if it was a glimmer of hope. Michael thought she would forget everything about me again, but unexpectedly, she asked a different question. "Michael, Is the child that William saved that day okay? Michael was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Very good. The child is now in junior high school, and his parents have always wanted to meet you. As he spoke, he lowered his eyes with a hint of pain in his heart. Olivia nodded slightly, her voice low and hoarse. That's good. Her tone was almost inaudible, but it revealed an invisible sense of relief. Michael sighed helplessly and patted her shoulder. However, the next second, Olivia seemed to have taken down all her defenses and instantly became as fragile as grass. Tears blurred her eyes, and the pain spread. She finally spoke. But what about my William? What about my William? Her voice was almost suppressed and could not be lowered anymore. I stood aside, watching all this, and my heart was even more powerless than hers. That was the second incident, and it was also the chaos after the award ceremony. The topic about Olivia and me on Weibo once again occupied the hot search list. Looking back on the 12 years since Olivia debuted, every step she took was closely connected with me. She had already made our relationship public on Weibo, which made her agent Michael extremely anxious. He once advised her to hide our relationship for the sake of her career. However, Olivia's persistence was unshakable. She stubbornly refused to give up that sincere emotion, even if the public's eyes gradually changed, even if her career was damaged. At that time, she was still a newcomer, starring in a small-budget TV series, but soon became a hit for her outstanding performance. The number of fans skyrocketed, but on her Weibo, the top post clearly read, "Love William." This Weibo post discouraged many new fans, but Olivia didn't care. In her heart, there was only me. During that time, I also considered whether to break up with her. After all, I knew in my heart that her future might be affected. So, I told her the breakup words through WeChat. Although I was in tears, I still decided to break up with her. However, Olivia's reaction was beyond my expectation. She came to me with a camera and kept taking pictures of me in tears, enjoying recording my vulnerability. Faced with her actions, I couldn't help but chase her, running after her in my slippers for a long time. I was so angry that my face turned red, and I complained in my heart, "What a psycho! Why are you taking pictures of me?" Olivia didn't care at all. Instead, she lay beside me and spoke attentively. "Dear Mr. Fong, you don't have to shed tears because you're special in my place. I can become famous because I am dedicated and talented, not because I don't have a romantic relationship." I wanted to laugh at her narcissism at the time, but I had to admit that her words made me a little shaken. The next day, Olivia updated her Weibo account, pinning the long article to the top of her post, which described in detail how we fell in love. She wrote that we had known each other for 20 years, and when she was a child, she wanted to end her life because of domestic violence. I followed her to the police and saved her when she was at her most vulnerable. Afterwards, her parents were sentenced for intentional injury, and her grandfather didn't like her in the first place, so he sent her to my house. Since then, our two families have become neighbors, and my parents adopted her until she grew up. As time went by, Olivia and I became closer and closer. I remember that the day after the college entrance examination was Olivia's birthday. At that time, I had decided to prepare a birthday surprise for her. There were no adults at home, so I quietly arranged everything and made her favorite birthday cake. As soon as the lights were turned off, Olivia suddenly confessed to me. I remember that at that moment, her eyes were as bright as stars, and there was a gentle smile on her face, as if the whole world was frozen at that moment. "William, have you made a wish?" she asked. I suddenly became a little flustered, blinked subconsciously, and asked her, "What wish did you make?" At that time, I was like a lamb to be slaughtered, but her eyes were full of persistence and expectation. "I made a wish that we could be together." Her voice was gentle but firm. At that moment, my heartbeat quickened, as if I could hear the sound of a bell from the horizon. She whispered, "William, can we be together?" This question stirred up waves in my heart, but I just stared at her blankly. At that time, I was still young and immature, and I couldn't tell what I really felt in my heart. So, I had to reject her confession. After entering university, we deliberately chose to live in different places with the idea of parting ways completely. I thought time and distance would make us forget each other, but unexpectedly, Olivia got into a car accident the following year. During the spring festival, my parents were busy going out for social events, so the responsibility of taking care of her fell on me and the nurse. During that time, Olivia was always silent, and I treated her coldly. Until New Year's Eve, when the nurse went home for the new year, I secretly ran to the balcony to watch the fireworks without Olivia's knowledge. At that moment, I felt a long-lost joy in my heart, and the fireworks were blooming and shining. Suddenly, Olivia's faint voice came from behind. "Why don't you let me watch the fireworks?" Her tone was a little frustrated. I turned around and saw her standing there quietly with a deep look in her eyes. Suddenly, I felt an indescribable guilt in my heart and hurriedly explained, No, I just. Before I finished speaking, the sound of fireworks exploding covered everything. I could only touch my nose awkwardly and lower my head, not knowing what to do. Olivia still didn't speak, just pursed her lips slightly, as if thinking about something. After a moment, she asked softly, "William, am I really that annoying?" I was stunned by the question, and my heart was filled with helplessness and confusion. She has always been so gentle and considerate. How could anyone not like her? No, I hurriedly explained, but my words were too hasty and full of obvious embarrassment. Olivia was silent for a moment and replied softly, "You didn't promise me a word." She lowered her head, seeming a little disappointed. At that time, I was filled with regret. Looking back, I never really understood her persistence. It was not until my junior year that we finally met again. I remember that at that time, all my roommates were single, but I was still alone. Facing their excitement, I began to feel anxious. Olivia happened to come to school with the rice dumplings made by her mother and smiled and asked me to bring her in to meet my roommates. I pretended to be calm and introduced her. "This is my girlfriend." Then I pinched her secretly and joked, "I accidentally let the cat out of the bag." Olivia is indeed a natural actress. She acted flawlessly, with a smile on her lips. She even took the initiative to invite everyone to celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival together. For 3 days, we pretended to be a couple and acted flawlessly. Olivia's acting was so impeccable that I couldn't help but start to doubt whether we were really just pretending. However, after dinner on the last day, Olivia began to show her other side, a strong possessiveness. After 3 rounds of drinks, she almost didn't allow me to drink, as if she was worried that I would do something wrong. After we sent the last roommate away, she suddenly fell on me and took out her rental house key with drunken eyes. I stared at her charming eyes and slightly trembling eyelashes and couldn't help but feel a little confused. "Are you going to watch me die without helping me?" she asked me half-jokingly. My heartbeat suddenly accelerated, and I realized that I had fallen into her world. Olivia and I finally got together. After graduation, Olivia's career began to flourish. I remember that in the 3rd year, she got a role. Although it was just a passerby, she had 5 scenes. Her persistence and hard work finally paid off. Whenever I see her acting freely in front of the camera, I can't help but sigh. She really has a promising future. In the 4th year, Olivia had her own breakthrough. With the help of Michael, she starred in a small-budget movie and quickly became famous for her excellent acting skills. At that time, she had become one of the most watched newcomers, and I became her pride and support. One night, Olivia wrote down the classic words, "I will not throw away the shoes that are most suitable for me just because I have walked a long way, nor will I throw away my original intention just because I want to be famous. My original intention is William. I have loved him for so many years." This sentence made me burst into tears and moved me to tears. Olivia's persistence and love finally paid off. As time went by, our relationship became stronger and stronger. Olivia began to shoot vlogs frequently, recording our lives and sharing them with her fans. Many people looked at our relationship history and left messages saying, "If you break up, I will never believe in love again." I was about to reply, but suddenly I received the news that Olivia was hospitalized due to stomach pain. I rushed to the hospital, and Michael comforted me. "It's okay. She has been too deep in her role recently and hasn't eaten enough." Michael's words made me feel complicated. We had quarreled several times because of this, and most of the time I quarreled unilaterally. Every time we quarreled, Olivia would always agree to all my requests, but as time went on, her promises began to seem a little perfunctory. That night, when I learned that Olivia was once again so weak from overwork that she needed for, I was filled with helplessness and anger. Olivia recovered. I sent her a message out of anger. "Hello, I can't be coaxed this time." "Soon," she replied. "Where are you going?" I knew that she was used to my running away after every quarrel. "So," she suggested, "Milan has nice scenery. There is a hotel where you want to film before. You go first, and I will come to find you after the filming is finished in 2 days." I angrily replied, "I'm not going." But in the end, I still bought a plane ticket and flew to Milan on time at 7 p.m., deciding to give myself some space. However, fate seemed to have arranged an absurd dream at this moment. When I arrived in Milan, the situation took an unexpected turn. I saw a child being chased by a psychopathic murderer. The scene in front of me was full of fear and chaos. The airport was full of panic and screams, but I didn't hesitate to hold the child in my arms and avoid the murderer's attack. Suddenly, the world became quiet. The breath of pain and death approached, and I only felt the child's violent trembling and his tears falling. He cried in my arms, "Brother, save me." My heart felt torn apart. I gently stroked his head and tried my best to comfort him. At this moment, the police finally controlled the murderer. My life almost stopped at that moment, but the aftermath of the whole incident was far from over. Weibo exploded instantly, with media and netizens missing me and crying bitterly. Olivia's face was pale and her hands were shaking. When she saw the news of my death, she couldn't accept the reality. She called my name in pain in the cold hospital and finally collapsed on the ground as if she had lost her soul, crying heartbreakingly. "William, please stop being angry, okay? Come back." Her words were full of helplessness and longing. Michael and his team were crying. That night, the sadness swept across the country like a huge tornado. Olivia never accepted the news of my death. Like an ignorant child, she stubbornly tried to pull me back from death and warm me with the warmth of her arms. At that moment, I was like a lifeless body, cold and powerless. During my cremation, Olivia still didn't give up. She held my ashes, her hands shaking, trying to bring my soul back. But I had already turned into dust. Olivia murmured to herself, "William, are you lying to me? Why are you ignoring me?" She kept calling out in a low voice, as if I was the only one who could respond to her. At the beach, she scattered my ashes into the sea. Seagulls flew, dolphins swam, but she still refused to let me go. In the end, it was my mother who couldn't stand it anymore and brought me back from the sea and buried me in my hometown. Olivia's heart was completely broken. She lost 30 pounds, her spirit was almost broken, and she missed all publicity and activities. When Michael took her to deal with the expiring contract, he found her unconscious in the room with a shocking wound on her wrist. Olivia went through a whole year of treatment and seemed to be recovering slowly. However, at an awards ceremony, Olivia fell ill again. The staff backstage came to her to show concern, but she touched the scab-covered wound feebly and asked anxiously, "Still no news about William?" Michael sighed and whispered, "No." She knew that there was no answer to this question. 10 years later, Olivia still can't get over the pain of losing me. In her world, They're only memories and regrets. And I seem to have become a dream that she can't reach. She began to shoot vlogs frequently, recording our daily lives and posting them to her fans. Everything about us became a beautiful memory in people's eyes. There were countless voices in the comments. If you break up, I will never believe in love again. However, in Olivia's world, these voices could not heal her pain. Every time, she misses me and hopes to go back to the past, but she can only fail again and again in the face of reality. Michael feels powerless when he sees all this. After all, he can't save a person who is already trapped in his own world. Olivia and my vlog were once again brought up on marketing accounts and became a hot topic among the public. The comment section was almost drowned in tears, and fans said they could not accept it. Michael calmed the fans, told the team to be prepared, and then arranged for a psychologist to go to Olivia's two-bedroom apartment to prepare for the situation. I have lived in that house for more than 10 years. Olivia is a sentimental person. Although she has more wealth and resources in recent years, she has never moved to another house. Almost every item in the room is related to me. According to our local customs, my personal belongings should be burned after my death, but Olivia firmly disagrees. So these things have been locked in the room, and the lock has gradually rusted over time. After making sure everything was arranged, Michael handed Olivia a new script. Although he knew that the movie was a lousy one, he hoped that this would distract Olivia a little. Olivia has always had high standards for choosing a play, and ordinary scripts simply could not attract her interest. She became focused when reading the script, but in that focus, there was an indescribable confusion. Michael tried to comfort her while trying to get her to eat something. Eat something. Olivia was about to shake her head, but she suddenly stopped. As if she remembered something, she raised her head and said to Michael with a smile, "I remember that William and I had a quarrel yesterday. It was because I didn't eat well." Michael's heart tightened. Olivia's memory is often fuzzy, especially about me. Almost every time she mentioned me, she would subconsciously confuse or disrupt the time, and these plots were often related to me. His throat choked, but there was a hint of smile in his eyes. "Then you have to listen to him. Don't disobey, otherwise he will be sad." Michael knew that Olivia was comforting herself. He had gotten used to Olivia mixing up our past memories and even unconsciously bringing me into her life, as if I was still alive, but she just couldn't touch me in her world. In the evening, Olivia put down the script in her hand, put on her coat, and prepared to go out. Michael was a little worried and asked, "Olivia, what are you going to do?" Olivia paused and answered easily, "It's not easy for me to go out during the day. Now that I have some quiet time, I want to go out to buy some gifts for William. His birthday is coming soon." Michael was stunned and hurriedly advised, "Have you forgotten what you said at the award ceremony today? Don't you remember what you said?" Olivia ignored him, smiled, and said, "It won an award for our film Daytime Carnival, didn't it?" However, Michael felt his heart tighten. Olivia's condition became more and more unstable, and even he himself began to doubt whether he should continue to let her participate in the work. So, Michael lied. "Wait until we get back to Shanghai tomorrow to buy it. You know William likes you to accompany him. He doesn't like the gift you picked out by yourself." Olivia didn't seem to care. She raised her lips slightly and recalled the moments when she was with me. "The first gift I bought was a razor, and the second time was a daisy." As she said that, a trace of nostalgia flashed in her eyes. "I didn't expect that I would really leave that year," Olivia murmured in a low voice. Then she continued, "Later, I was busy filming, so I didn't pick a gift for you again. After all, you said you didn't need it." She is sensitive and delicate. Although she always says that she doesn't need gifts, she knows that I don't really dislike those thoughtful gestures. So, Olivia found a compromise and took me shopping every time and bought me small items I liked. She never refused my compliments to her. Every time I said, "I like this very much. I am really your good sister," she always smiled happily. However, The most romantic moment was when Olivia prepared the proposal for me. She prepared everything for me, secretly arranged the proposal ceremony in Milan, and all relatives and friends were invited there, and all the preparations were in order. However, who would have thought that all the preparations would not bring us that beautiful moment? I died at the airport. The smell of blood and the pain I could not feel instantly engulfed me. At that time, I barely had time to react, and I didn't even know if I could catch my breath. I vaguely thought maybe I was really too rebellious. Why did I have to quarrel so stubbornly? And in a flash, I suddenly thought, what did the child do wrong? He was just such a small child. Olivia had been so helpless, and now I seemed to have become a part of her life, a movie of death replaying in her life. I went back to the day when I called the police with Olivia and saw her barefoot, stumbling on the bloodstained ground. Every step seemed to be a struggle, but she could never see the road ahead clearly. Finally, she fainted under the shadow of the willow tree, her hands shaking, trying to grab me, but unable to make any more movements. She was breathing hard. Her body was covered with scars. At that moment, I became an image that she could not touch. I looked at her, my heart filled with regret. At that moment, I realized that the impermanence of life catches us off guard. The ant rushed over and chased me out, covering her mouth, and the sirens of the police car gradually sounded, breaking everything. Olivia was rushed to the hospital for treatment, but her father's drunken seizure was unacceptable to everyone. Although he kowtowed and admitted his mistakes in an almost desperate manner, nothing changed. His drunken and foolish words angered the police, and the situation became tense. Olivia's father lost all his sanity. Faced with such a cruel truth, she could only silently bear the guilt in her heart. 5 months later, Olivia's wounds had healed, but deep scars still remained on her body. That day, the house was cleaned up, the empty room was filled with stuffed toys, and the TV was replaced with a new one. The doorbell rang, and my father took my hand to open the door. My mother ran over and set out the fragrant Kung Pao chicken. Standing outside the door was Olivia, who was carrying a school bag and a suitcase. She looked tired, her eyelids drooped slightly, and her lips moved, but she said nothing. Dad took the suitcase with a smile. "Olivia, welcome to join us." At that moment, Olivia said to me, "I will remember this scene for the rest of my life." Countless nights, thinking back to the pain and struggles of the past. Every time I see these stuffed toys, I feel that it's great that I am no longer alone. However, for some reason, this emotion always seems to be accompanied by an unsolvable sense of loneliness. Even if she has everything in her life, she still feels like a lonely child. However, this warm life did not last long. When Michael woke up, he rubbed his dizzy head and was about to drink some water when he found that Olivia's house was empty. When his phone was in silent mode, he saw a message with 23 missed calls. Obviously, Olivia was missing again. The assistant sent me screenshots and videos, and Olivia was once again on the hot search. In the video, she was wearing pajamas, standing in an unfamiliar Times Square, holding our photo in her hand, and gently asking passersby, "Excuse me, have you seen William? Has he gone to Milan? William is my fiance. Do you know him?" The star effect made passersby gather around, forming a tight encirclement. Olivia stood in the middle, looking extremely confused, with her pale lips tightly pursed, as if she had lost all her strength. "Please don't block the way. I'm looking for someone," she finally whispered. Although her tone was still humble and gentle, it was full of emotion and could not be ignored. Suddenly, a passerby said mercilessly, "William is dead. You can't find him." This sentence exploded in the crowd like thunder, instantly triggering greater anger and accusations. Olivia froze in place, her eyes full of pain and confusion. Even if she was usually gentle, she could not suppress her anger at this moment. She grabbed the man tightly and warned him angrily, Please don't make such a shameless joke. The chaotic environment made this moment full of pain, and Michael's heart seemed to be torn apart when he heard bursts of crying. When the assistant finally sent the news, Michael was heartbroken. Olivia was near my home when the accident happened. Olivia and I are now at the police station. It was evening and the sky was getting dark. The assistant knocked on the door. Olivia was sitting on the sofa, holding a 1.5-meter tall bear. Michael walked in and asked with a puzzled look on his face, "What happened to this big bear?" Olivia looked at him blankly and still answered gently, "This is not a big bear, it's William." Michael was stunned. Olivia in front of him seemed to be in deep confusion. She could no longer distinguish between reality and memories. Michael was completely dumbfounded and could not understand. The assistant quickly added an explanation. When Olivia came back, she saw the big bear and stood there motionless. She seemed to be reluctant and bought it directly. Michael was speechless and felt mixed emotions. She likes castles. Why don't you buy her castle? Olivia still had that gentle expression, but Michael knew that this was just a cover-up for her deep-seated fragility. Olivia's condition was getting worse and worse, and the online public opinion was getting more and more intense. Michael was so busy that he wished he could have 8 clones to deal with it all. Olivia's depression didn't seem to get better at all, but was even more serious than 4 years ago. Why didn't you see it at the beginning? Michael couldn't help but roar, his emotions out of control. Now that she has become like this, you don't have any responsibility? The doctor touched his brow and sighed helplessly. Michael, Olivia's condition has not been 1 or 2 days. There has always been a knot in her heart. She has been silently enduring all these years, and taking medicine is just a drop in the bucket. Michael wanted to argue again, but was interrupted by the doctor. Medication will not help if the knot cannot be untied. The doctor was silent for a moment, then packed up his things, turned around, and prepared to leave. Let her eat on time and stop all her activities. Monitor her 24 hours a day and be alert to the possibility of suicide. Michael's heart sank completely. He already knew that Olivia's condition was very serious, and this time, she had been in a coma for 3 whole days. When he returned to Olivia's bedroom, he saw her still sitting on the sofa, holding the big bear, and the TV was still on, with the picture playing quietly. Her expression was empty, as if she was looking at something but couldn't see it. Olivia's voice suddenly came. "William, why do you always have the same expression?" As soon as she finished speaking, she seemed to fall asleep again due to exhaustion. She lay down quietly and fell into a deep dream. Michael stood by the bed. His eyes were sore. Looking at the quiet Olivia, he couldn't help but sighed. "Olivia, when will you wake up?" The next day, Michael pushed open Olivia's door, only to find the whole room was dark and Olivia still didn't move. He was about to push open the curtains when he heard the person on the bed say in a low and hoarse voice, "Don't look." Michael turned around and saw Olivia holding Dahyung's hand. She was silent for a long time, her throat was dry, and her voice was a little blurry. "Michael, am I sick again?" Michael paused and froze in place. He suddenly realized that Olivia's condition was worse than he thought. "I guess so," Michael sighed in a low voice. "Now that everyone knows, there is no point in hiding it." Olivia had her back to him, her whole figure almost swallowed by the darkness, as if she was trapped on an isolated island of despair. At that moment, she looked completely different from when William was there. She used to not allow herself to show any vulnerability in front of me, but now she no longer has the strength to hide it all. She was silent for a moment, and then slowly said, "Michael, I'm not suitable for acting anymore." Michael was stunned, and his whole body was stunned. "What do you mean?" His mind was blank, and he didn't understand what Olivia said at all. "Speak clearly, I don't understand." Michael's voice was a little anxious. "Quit this circle." Olivia's voice was low and calm, like a pool of stagnant water. Michael was so angry that he was shaking. He almost jumped up with gritted teeth and began to pace back and forth in the room. Olivia, you are fooling around. Olivia said nothing, but just closed her eyes silently. You have been in this industry for so many years. Haven't you done it for today? You know how much William likes to watch you act. After you became famous, you put aside everything to make art films and chose capital films directed by big directors. Why, you don't think it's suitable now? Michael looked at Olivia. His eyes became more and more sharp, and his accusatory tone became more intense. Those traffic stars can be lively and energetic. Why can't you? Can't you be dedicated at all? Olivia finally spoke, her voice cold. I'm sick. This sentence made Michael unable to refute. His lips moved, but he didn't know what to say. In the end, she could only say helplessly with red eyes, can it get better? At this moment, Olivia's fragility was exposed, and it seemed that all her strength collapsed at this moment. Michael could feel her deep sense of powerlessness. It can't get better. How can a person who lost his shoes walk? After walking out of Olivia's room, Michael leaned against the wall and sighed deeply. Then, he looked up and couldn't hold back his tears. He looked at the empty air and felt helpless. William, if you are still alive, please save Olivia. The assistants rushed to support Michael, but he shook his head and refused. Just take care of Olivia. Michael had already started preparing for Olivia's retirement. After all, the most important thing right now was not her career, but her life. She couldn't afford to waste any more time. Olivia's condition was sometimes good and sometimes bad. She would often sit on the balcony in a daze for no reason, or hug the big bear and talk to herself all night, mumbling some strange words. Michael has always been a careful person, and he paid attention to every detail of Olivia. He hired people to reinforce every window, and even installed a positioning device on Olivia. Olivia now seems to be well-behaved and quiet. She can go a whole day without talking, and if no one reminds her, she may even forget to eat. She doesn't care if her clothes are stained by food, as if she has become a child who has lost all perception and is ignorant. Whenever she had an attack, she would never call her parents, but would only call William silently. That day, Assistant Xiao Zhang was busy in the kitchen when he suddenly heard a soft voice behind him. Turning around, Olivia was leaning against the kitchen door with a confused look in her eyes. Xiao Zhang was relieved when he saw this and asked with a smile, Olivia, why are you so happy? Is there something good? Olivia's smile was gentle, but still carried that kind of indescribable fatigue. She sighed lightly, with a smile on her lips. William thought I didn't eat well, so he ran to the airport. But I will propose tomorrow, and I will take you guys to fly to southern Fujian tonight. Although Xiao Zhang has just arrived, he already knows that Olivia is friendly and kind. Even though she is sick, she never pretends to be hypocritical and still has no star airs. Seeing her smile so easily, Xiao Zhang couldn't help but feel a sore nose and red eyes. He tried hard to hold back tears and pretended to say naturally, Okay, sister, then you should eat more tonight and stay in good shape. Olivia nodded. Okay, let's go together tonight. However, she quickly forgot that she was going to Milan. It was not until 9 o'clock in the evening that she suddenly called Michael to come over. In a living room, the two faced each other, and the atmosphere was dull. Olivia looked at the documents in Michael's hand and said in surprise, So many? Michael deliberately said sarcastically, What do you think? You're a popular movie queen now, 32 years old, and you can get world-class recognition. Where can you find another actor like you? Olivia did not respond, but just smiled and shook her head. The two discussed for a long time until late at night. Olivia quietly looked at the number of 70 million fans on Weibo with mixed feelings. Michael patted her shoulder. Okay, you can post the statement of withdrawal from the circle. Choose a normal time to post it. Olivia still whispered. Okay, the matter should be settled. She calmly handled the breach of contract fee for the endorsement. All the accounts were clear, Even Michael's own salary was only 1/10. It was late at night outside. The sound of cicadas penetrated the night sky. The wind began to intensify, and the weather forecast showed that there would be heavy rain tomorrow. Olivia had a poor physique and was afraid of the cold, but she still stood on the steps. Suddenly, she turned around and smiled at Michael. "Actually, you really look like my mother." Michael was stunned for a moment and replied casually, "I'm talking about ordinary people's mothers." He didn't think much about it and just took it as a compliment. However, Olivia's eyes were deep, and at that moment, Michael felt an inexplicable sense of oppression. Olivia continued, "You are like a mother who can take care of me and tolerate me." Michael did not respond immediately. He pretended to glare at Olivia. "Little ungrateful wolf. Why are you looking at me?" But Olivia was silent at that moment and smiled softly. "Don't look at me like that, Michael. Let's go. It's just a dream. Don't take it too seriously." Michael felt a chill in his heart. Goosebumps fell all over the floor, and then he smiled with a hint of helplessness. "Okay, let's go. Don't delay your life. Tomorrow you will see something." After watching Michael leave, Olivia returned to the empty room without William, and the air seemed to freeze. When she sat back on the sofa, Olivia fell into deep thought. After a moment, she decided to issue a statement to quit the circle, knowing that she had reached a point of no return. Not long after, Olivia's condition worsened again, and she became unusually silent, as if she had completely lost interest in life. Xiao Zhang and other assistants were very worried and decided to follow her until they confirmed that everything was normal. Late at night, Olivia pretended to be sick, silent, and sluggish, and finally fell asleep quietly. She was a natural actor, able to control her breathing and adjust her posture, just to reassure the people around her. 2 hours later, Xiao Zhang came in according to the procedure and whispered Olivia's name, but no matter how he called, she never woke up again. The next day, the news that Olivia had committed suicide by cutting her wrists exploded, becoming the focus of everyone's attention. In the square, many netizens left messages. "Liar. The whole family of the rumor maker." Some people even didn't believe it was true and thought it was just a prank. At this time, heavy rain came, and the video of Michael running to the hospital in the early morning quickly occupied the hot search on major platforms. In the video, Michael covered his face and cried. His body was weak, and he didn't even have the strength to walk. At this time, everyone finally believed it all. At the same time, the news of Olivia's retirement that she had posted at 10 a.m. also caused a stir. She repinned her Weibo homepage and posted a message. "Friends, I'm going to find William. Don't be sad for me. This heavy rain is your last farewell to me." Then, groups of fans rushed to Olivia's door, sending her daisies with tears in their eyes. The security guards tried to stop them at first, but Michael stopped them with a hoarse voice. "No need. Olivia has always loved her fans. Just send them. God has mercy on them." The rain lasted for a whole month until the day when the sky cleared up and a rainbow appeared in the sky. Michael posted a circle of friends. Olivia and William met.